This week, James Charles was caught buying something pretty interesting off of Amazon, and his purchase turned into a huge joke over on TikTok. What went from being an Amazon purchase to a joke turned into a huge controversy when Ethan talked about it during Monday's episode. Ethan has now lost over 10,000 subscribers from this topic, and people are really upset with some things he had to say. It's a mess, so let's get into it. Last week, James posted a video titled, "Trying the cheapest makeup from Amazon." At the beginning of the video, James opened up his Amazon homepage and forgot to blur his most recent purchases. Now, with James Charles having a makeup channel, you would think his most recent purchase might be some makeup brushes, maybe some makeup, but no. His most recent purchase showed diapers and high-fiber oatmeal. Right away, everyone noticed and started pointing it out on social media.
So I was watching Miss James Charles' newest YouTube video and couldn't help but notice. See anything suspicious? How about now?
And you know, there's tons of reasons why someone could need a product like this. Reasons that aren't funny and could be very serious or be a medical condition. But a lot of people think that's not the case with James. There's been a lot of speculation going around that James had a BBL done. This speculation has gone on for a while now, but it really started to pick up traction again when he posted this photo to his Instagram stories. People are saying when you have a BBL done, the medication you get put on and the anesthesia makes you constipated, so you need that high fiber oatmeal. There's also people saying when you have a BBL done, a lot of people buy diapers for the recovery process. One person said, most people wear diapers when they get BBLs. And people in the comments were like, wait, why? And there's been a lot of interesting theories as to why you would need them. To collect fluids that drain from where the incisions are. Guess to protect the scars that are healing when they sit down. You still need padding because your incisions are leaking. I got the tubes, but still needed padding for my reduction. All very good explanations, but so far James hasn't addressed anything, so I guess we'll never know. One person who did address the diapers was Ethan Kleins. He did a live stream titled, "James Charles Wears Diapers." Ethan and the rest of the crew were talking about all the possibilities as why James could have these diapers on his Amazon listed as buy again. They were going on listing all the possibilities and even made a poll for people to guess. Now, that's not necessarily why people are mad. People are more mad at the options Ethan listed. One of the options listed was saying that James needed these diapers because of his preferred position when it comes to, you know.
Now, we were having a debate here. We're like, okay, well, that's funny, but why is James actually buying diapers? Well, now, we were saying, well, if he's getting potentially, you may need to wear a diaper.
What am I? What's
okay,
the poll?
so he's a power.
No, that would.
That's an option. Power.
People in the chat were saying that's actually a negative thing to say about a gay man. They were saying that word is sometimes used in the community with a negative connotation, and they kind of felt like Ethan was using it in a derogatory manner.
I love you guys so much, but y'all really need some LGBTQT.
Why? What did?
Shut up.
What did I say wrong?
Shut up.
Colin, if you have a problem with my character,
you got it right. I mean, you literally got it right.
Power.
Yeah. Shut up.
Later on in the show, they ended up having someone call in named Matt, and he wanted to explain to Ethan why he felt like the top-bottom thing was being used in a stereotypical way. Matt started off by saying that he thinks Ethan is stereotyping people by saying, oh, they're a bottom just by looking at them. He thinks that's a huge stereotype, and there's no way you can just look at someone and know that.
Hey, Matt.
Oh,
so, Matt,
wow.
what have I got wrong?
I know often you feel inclined to describe someone where you think they might be a bottom. And I think that that's often a misconception, that like bottoms may be passive or, but how can you know that about someone?
Well, that was just a theory about because he was.
Instead of Ethan maybe understanding what the caller was saying and getting some understanding of the caller's part, Ethan just said, well, I find the word funny. In the end, Ethan did say he understood a bit where the caller was coming from, but he kind of ruined that understanding when he asked the caller, who he doesn't know, has no friendship or relationship with, what position he likes.
So would you consider yourself a top or a bottom, or you don't do that, the labels?
And
You could just tell the caller was taken back by the question. Luckily, he wasn't taking any of it and told Ethan that was none of his business.
I mean this with all peace and love and with respect, Ethan. It's none of your business.
But you
How
have a
is it?
preference one way or the other.
But that's another dangerous assumption, too.
This is what got people really upset. Matt, the caller, just spent like 5 minutes explaining to Ethan that calling people that, especially gay men, is stereotypical and derogatory. Ethan said he understood where the caller was coming from, only to go ahead and ask the caller exactly what he just explained to him wasn't okay. To make it worse, during a live podcast. Now, calling into the show is probably nerve-wracking enough. People pick you apart in the chat, you get posted on the H3 subreddit, and people can say whatever they want about you. It does take some to call in and put yourself out there like that, and for Ethan to ask such a personal question was just really awkward. To make this whole situation even worse, after the caller said that information was none of Ethan's business, he went on to ask if he could guess.
Can
Because
I
a lot of
guess?
gay men don't.
You tell me if it's right, if I guess right.
No.
You know what? I'm not gonna get into it, Matt. But we all know which one you prefer.
Then Ethan backtracks everything and said he doesn't understand where the caller is coming from and he doesn't get it. And it just continues from here. Ethan keeps asking the caller questions, keeps talking about positions, and he goes on and on and on. People in the chat were calling Ethan out, saying he was being really homophobic to the caller. Ethan asked Dan if he was right, and Dan said, "Of course you were right," and went off on the people calling them out. He was telling people to unsubscribe, he was telling their fans to shut up, and saying they're too sensitive for their show.
People say it was gross and disappointing. Saying you can guess if Matt is a power by his voice is so gross. But I was right. That was the point. Wasn't I? He admitted.
Yeah, of course you were right. And honestly, just so over people. Shut the up. Shut up. This is a entertaining show. Shut up.
Someone says, I don't know what's up.
So disappointing.
Someone said,
Grow up. Jesus Christ.
And Dan.
I don't know what's up with Ethan today, but something's off. Bad vibes this episode.
Shut the up. Unsubscribe. Go away.
Ethan and Dan are receiving tons of backlash over the things they said during the podcast, and people are actually really upset with them. Normally they get a few people here and there who might not fully agree with their statements, but this time it was overwhelming. At the end of the podcast, Ethan kind of apologized to the caller, but then followed it up by saying, "Whatever, what can you do?" So far, most of the comments under the podcast are all calling out both Ethan and Dan. Here's what people had to say. The whole point of that call was literally, don't judge a book by its cover. It's really not that hard, people. The amount of disrespect and inappropriate pushing during the conversation with Matt literally made my jaw drop. But honestly, I have so much respect for the composure and patience Matt carried throughout the call. Ethan's patience is deteriorating each episode. Poor callers never get to finish a sentence. I guess Trisha was right when she said no to giving advice to callers. I never thought I would dislike an H3 podcast, but this was such a miss. People are so upset with Ethan and Dan's comments that they're also unsubscribing. So far, the H3 channel has lost over 10,000 subscribers. Ethan did end up issuing an apology on his Twitter, writing, "To my LGBTQ+ fans, I am sorry for the comments on today's show. This gay men and the grouping of tops and bottoms is a stereotype that I will be trying to unlearn. Apologies to the caller too, who I shouldn't have pressed inappropriately. Hope you guys know I always mean well." And then Ethan's mom Donna from the Families podcast replied to Ethan and tried to stand up for him, writing, "Because of archaic views demonizing preferences, people are more sensitive with edgy, satirical comedy." A lot of people didn't like Donna's comment, and now she's getting backlash. I was kind of surprised to see her comment because I thought the Families podcast ended because Ethan wanted to protect his mom from the internet. Since this turned into a really controversial topic, I'm surprised Donna got involved and that her reply is still up. Anyways, guys, let me know what you think about everything down below. Do you find Ethan's conversation with the caller to be completely out of line? Or do you hold the same position as Dan and think everyone is just being too sensitive? Let me know, and I'll see you next time.